We've got a great show lined up talking about surviving spouse. So if you're married, you want to be paying attention to this. What about required minimum distributions? How do those operate? 401k retirement accounts from previous employers. What do you do with those assets along with the tax code? So much valuable information coming up right here, right now on Retiring Well.
Retiring Well, brought to you by Centennial Wealth Advisory, financial advisors specializing in retirement planning and serving all of Northern Michigan. Retiring Well, helping you plan for a successful and comfortable retirement. Retiring Well, plan to retire well.
It's unfortunate, but reality that if you're married, you likely won't pass away at the same time. Not everything ends up like if you've seen the movie The Notebook and how that couple ends up passing away pretty much within a few minutes of each other, of broken hearts. And so that doesn't seem to happen always in the real world. So you need to make a plan for whomever may be the first to pass away and protect that surviving spouse. So let's start with Social Security. When do you take it? Again, we might lean towards delaying the higher earners benefits just in the case of this surviving spouse, because again, if you look at Social Security, how to maximize those benefits for a surviving spouse is then if one spouse passes away, again, you can draw the larger of the two benefits. If you visit cen-wealth.com. Midway down on the homepage, we have a 16-page guide, free download, all about Social Security. So in an example, let's say one spouse is receiving $3,000 worth of benefits, retirement benefits, another is receiving $2,000, so you have a total of $5,000. But if one spouse passes away, you simply keep the higher of the two, so you would then receive only $3,000 in that basic example. But outside of Social Security, what about a pension? Again, we continue to see pensions going by the wayside for the most part, so fewer people have pensions. If you do have a pension, are there survivorship benefits? If you pass away, does the surviving spouse receive 50%, or maybe it's 2/3, or maybe even 100% of your pension benefits? But it also might work in the other direction, where if you're the owner of that pension and your spouse were to pass away and maybe you had survivorship benefits, sometimes your pension will actually increase in that scenario. What about an annuity? Some people go through the insurance companies, set up some type of annuity that either has a single lifetime income or maybe it's a joint lifetime income. So this is an important decision if you're setting up that type of an account that is geared towards paying lifetime benefits. And you need to elect some of those benefits at the beginning, whether you're going to draw it based on a single lifetime or a joint lifetime. So consider those, what income you may lose. Are you still working? And what about those lost wages? What impact is that going to have on a surviving spouse? So that's where life insurance may come into play. Might be very vital during your working years, and especially if you have young children at home, wanting to have some type of life insurance in place. Normally, term insurance is your lowest cost for the higher death benefit. And then as time moves along, you may look at whole life or universal life types of policies that might have some cash value associated with them. What are your expenses going to look like? That's a tough one to know. I mean, there's going to be certain parts of your budget that may increase if one spouse, say, primarily handles some of the home maintenance, and now all of a sudden you're going to have to hire out some of that type of work. Or what about if there's child care assistance needed? Again, those can be very expensive nowadays. On the other hand, you might look at it and expenses could decrease a bit. Now that there's only one of you in the couple, that maybe you're not going to be traveling as much as you did before. Maybe you're not dining out as much, and so those could change. One area especially to be cautious of are taxes. So if you look at the tax brackets, you effectively go cut them in half for the most part when it goes from a married couple down to a single individual. And so don't have enough time to dive into all of those details, but maybe having some after-tax funds in your savings and maybe different types of brokerage accounts, after-tax money you could draw from, or Roth money that would be tax-free could be very helpful. Lastly, estate planning. Again, you want to get all your ducks in a row for that. So over the nearly 19 years here at Centennial Wealth Advisory, we've planned, assisted many clients in a surviving spouse situation, and it's never one that is fun to deal with on the back end, but I will say when you've done the appropriate planning leading up to that, it makes that transition that much easier. Just having that confidence, knowing that, okay, my income and expenses are going to be taken care of. I have the assets to help support that. So if you have questions, don't feel that you have the best plan in place for your surviving spouse, give us a call here. We'd love to help you plan to retire well.
Hi, my name is Jack Kunder, and I am a financial advisor with Centennial Wealth Advisory. I work out of our Cadillac office, and we specialize in retirement planning. We take a very holistic approach. We can help go through all the different aspects of planning that are involved in retiring well. So if you are nearing or in retirement and you have questions that you want to go over, please give the number on the screen a call, and we can have and set up a free, no obligation consultation.
Make the most of Social Security. Although Social Security isn't designed to cover all of your income needs, it's an important part of the retirement puzzle. Download our free booklet on the Social Security decisions at cen-wealth.com and learn how to optimize Social Security for your situation, why timing is so important when it comes to your benefits, ways to supplement your Social Security, and more. There is no cost and no obligation. Simply go to cen-wealth.com, scroll down, and click the download link to get your free booklet on the Social Security decisions.
Hey, welcome to this segment on Required Minimum Distributions 101. General questions about what are RMDs, as they are often called in short. Well, they're required minimum distributions. They are distributions that you need to take from your tax-deferred accounts, otherwise you face a penalty. So let's dive right in. When did this first become a law? Well, in 1974, with the passage of the Employee Retirement Income Security Act, there was an introduction to the IRA. And in that legislation, it also included the rules for when those distributions would have to take place. What are the age rules for RMDs? Well, it depends on when you're born. There's a chart on the screen right now that you can look and you can find your birth date, and that will tell you when your RMD age will be. So if you were born on June 30, 1949 or earlier, your RMD age was 70.5. If your birthday was between July 1, 1949 through and including December 31st of 1950, your RMD age was 72. For births on January 1st, 1951 and through including December 31st, 1959, RMD is age 73. And for all births January 1st, 1960 and later, your RMD is 75. Now, some people think, hey, that's a great thing that I can defer this income longer. But if you're not aware of what might happen with how they calculate the RMDs, you could be creating a huge tax bomb in your retirement income that you do not want to do. So what is the equation? How do they calculate RMDs? What they'll do is they'll take the account balance on December 31st of the prior year of your tax-deferred accounts. Then they divide it by a distribution period. That distribution period will have three different tables that might apply to you. They get a factor, And so they take your balance divided by that factor, and that's equal to your RMD. I'll give you an example here coming up in just a minute. Are there penalties for not taking RMDs? Yes. It used to be before the Secure Act 2.0 that if you didn't take your RMD, and let's say that the government said, IRS said, you need to take a $10,000 RMD, and you didn't take it, they could fine you 50% of what that RMD was. So they could fine you, tax you 50%, $5,000 if you didn't take it. Now, with the new laws passing, they have reduced that. And so currently, it's if you don't take your RMD, the tax is 25%. If you say, hey, I missed it, I was busy having fun with my dog and I didn't do my homework, or didn't do what you were supposed to do, then you can take your RMDs and then you can get a reduced penalty of 10%. Now, with that being said, you don't want to pay any penalties. And when it was 50%, the IRS even had a little bit of a heart. They were like, you know what, we're not going to fine them 50% for missing this. So there was a form you could file and typically get that waived. Right now, though, if it goes down to 25% or even a 10% penalty, I wonder how open the IRS will be to waiving that penalty. And when I see that, I'm like, I'd rather pay 50% of nothing than 10%, of something. So, you just be aware of those RMDs, when they're going to hit, how they're going to apply. Are RMDs taxable income? Well, it depends, okay? If you're just taking the RMD as a regular distribution to your account, your checking account, savings account, then yes, it is going to be a taxable event, and it'll go on top of your other income sources that are taxable. Is there any way around the RMD being taxable? Yes. If you are 70 and a half years old, you can do what's called a qualified charitable distribution. And you can send your RMD right to that charity of your choice. No taxes are withheld. No tax impact is going to happen on your personal return, and you get to support those charities. So let's run a quick example. Let's say that you had $250,000 in an IRA. You're 75 years old. What they're going to do to calculate your RMD is they're going to take 250, divide it by a factor of 24.6 to get you that RMD of $10,162. So I hope you enjoyed this little segment. As always, if you have any questions, you are always feel free to give us a call. We love to help you learn. Have a great day.
Living life isn't always easy. It puts up challenges and obstacles you'll have to overcome. There are responsibilities. You put in effort to provide and take care of your family, to save and invest, to balance work and life. Planning is the first step to succeeding. Plan to retire well.
You made it. Years of hard work, investing, planning, and now you're here. The long-awaited reward you spent a lifetime looking forward to. But what now? After years of growing a nest egg, now you may want to manage it. Use it to fund your dreams. Make it last as long as you need it. And leave some for those you love. So what do? Wall Street continues to be uncertain, and some conservative options have dropped through the floor. How do you maintain opportunities for growth and reduce risk of loss from market changes? That's where we come in. We are financial professionals. From investments and insurance products to tax reduction strategies and guaranteed retirement income you cannot outlive, provided by the claims-paying ability of insurance companies. You've worked a lifetime to get here. Let us help you enjoy it to the fullest. For a complimentary consultation, simply contact us today.
If you like watching Retiring Well, make sure to go to youtube.com/retiringwell and click the subscribe button to never miss any of our TV shows and other informative videos.
Do you have an old 401k or retirement account from a previous employer that you just kind of forgot about? We come across this very often. In fact, we often refer to them as orphan accounts. They're those accounts where you might have started at a company in your early 20s, fresh out of college, and you opened up that 401k, and maybe you worked for that company for a couple of years or whatnot, and then you found something better and you moved on. And during that first job, maybe you contributed to a 401k, right? Well, when you transferred to your new job, maybe you forgot about that 401k, or you were young, you had kids, you were busy, and you just never got to doing anything with that account. Well, you're not alone, okay? A lot of people have these orphan accounts or these old 401ks from previous employers, and the common question is, well, what do I do with them now, right? What are my options? And so basically you have a few different options that you need to consider, okay? First option would be, well, you can do a rollover from that old 401k to your new 401k if you're working and you have a new 401k. Okay, that's probably the simplest option that you can have, and it really helps consolidate things and keeps it simple for you. The process to go about doing that, typically you'd reach out to the custodian or the plan that is holding the assets. So that could be Vanguard or Fidelity or TD Ameritrade or Transamerica, just to name a few there. That can be found right on your statement there, and the phone number is usually listed there. So what we like to do is we just call them up. We say, okay, what does it take to do a rollover to this new 401k plan? Oftentimes there's going to be paperwork involved, so they'll email you some paperwork, you got to fill it out and sign. Although nowadays a lot of times you can do it right online too. So take a look at that. That would probably be my number one option for you. If you're still working and you have that old employer account, you just roll it right over into your new employer account. Because it's a like-to-like account, there's also going to be no tax implications for doing that. Another option that is very popular is taking that old 401k and rolling it to an IRA account. So typically the big benefit from doing that is with that old 401k, you're very limited to the different investment strategies that you have in there. Typically it's somewhere between 10 to maybe 20 different investment options. They range from maybe you've got a few in the stock or more aggressive strategy, and then you've got a fixed income or bond, which is more conservative, and then there's usually a few in the stable value or cash side of things that is very conservative. But those are it. That's all you have the ability to invest in with that old 401k. So a lot of people, they like to take that 401k and roll it to an IRA, and then the entire investment world is open to you. This can be very beneficial, especially after retirement too, because it allows you more access to the entire investment world. Another option would be just taking the money out of it. Okay, so you've got, that old 401k back from an old employer. Maybe you didn't work there that long and the balance is only a few $1,000s for an example. We come across this a lot where, clients, they forget about it, then they remember they have it and they're like, oh, we want to take a vacation. Well, you could certainly cash that out. However, just remember that would be taxable, and if you're under the age of 59 and a half, not only would you pay taxes, but you'd pay an extra 10% penalty on top of that as well. So you definitely want to make sure you're aware of all the little tax and penalty implications of just taking that money out and put it in your pocket. And then the final option would be that you could certainly just leave it there, right? You don't have to do these rollovers, you don't have to cash it out, you can just let it ride. But that's kind of like throwing the dice, right? I mean, how often do you really check that old employer account? Do you even know how to access it anymore, right? What is it invested in? Does it still meet your risk tolerance now that 15, 20 years have gone by? So I would highly encourage you to think about the other investment or rollover options that you have for that 401k. And if you have any questions or want to go in depth with these different options and see what one might make the most sense for you, please don't hesitate to give us a call. We'd love to schedule a free, no obligation consultation. Are you nearing retirement or in retirement? Have you had your portfolio just looked at or have a second opinion on that portfolio recently? Centennial Wealth is a full service advisory firm, and we have multiple locations in Northern Michigan. I'm in the Gaylord office primarily. The office is right downtown Gaylord. Also up in the Petoskey office as well. That office is right off of 31. I'd love to hear your story. I'd love to sit down and chat, and it's a free, no obligation consultation, so just call the number on the screen.
What can Retirement Analyzer do for you? Retirement Analyzer is a software tool that can help you prepare today for your financial future. You've worked hard to save for your retirement, but as you near your retirement, you may have concerns. Have I positioned my retirement savings wisely? Have I saved enough for retirement, and will my savings last throughout my lifetime? What impact could inflation have on my future expenses? What if I suffer a long-term illness? Will I have enough money to cover my medical care expenses and still be able to meet my other financial obligations? Could changes in the income tax rates disrupt my retirement strategy? There's no need to be in the dark as you prepare for your retirement. Retirement Analyzer can help you find answers to all these questions and more. The first step is providing us with information on your financial assets, the type and current value of those assets, as well as your sources of income. Then, we work with you to identify your expected expenses in retirement. This will include a discussion of the lifestyle you envision in retirement, travel, a summer residence, whatever you dream your retirement will be. We'll input the information you provide us into the Retirement Analyzer, and in a very short time we'll have reports that show us the percentage of assets currently in high-risk vehicles as well as the percent in lower-risk products. Retirement Analyzer enables us to project your income from year to year in your retirement and see how long your retirement savings may last. As we change the conditions of the report, delaying your retirement date, including costs for long-term care, adjusting the expected tax rate, or adjusting your retirement strategies, we can see how changes in these variables may impact your income in retirement and the longevity of your retirement savings. Let the Retirement Analyzer help you test drive your retirement strategy today, because the time to discover the bumps in the road is not once your trip through retirement has begun. Contact our office today to schedule an appointment for your Retirement Analyzer review.
Make the most of Social Security. Although Social Security isn't designed to cover all of your income needs, it's an important part of the retirement puzzle. Download our free booklet on the Social Security decisions at cen-wealth.com and learn how to optimize Social Security for your situation, why timing is so important when it comes to your benefits, ways to supplement your Social Security, and more. There is no cost and no obligation. Simply go to cen-wealth.com, scroll down, and click the download link to get your free booklet on the Social Security decisions.
Taxes, something that many people out there dread come April, but it's something that we need to be thinking about all year. If you've watched the Retiring Well television show here for any amount of time, you hear us talking about tax planning and how to start maximizing that and what that looks like. At different stages of your life, it's going to look different. In this particular topic that I want to talk about today, I want to specifically kind of look at the tax code and beg the question to you, are you battling the tax code solo and how that potentially could be a challenge? So I'm going to read some interesting kind of facts or statistics here that I was able to look into with this tax code that I found really interesting and almost alarming in some cases. So recently, the IRS collected about $5 trillion of income, it's income to them, from personal tax returns, corporate tax returns, and payroll taxes over a course of a year. So $5 trillion. Americans spend about $104 billion annually trying to comply with the tax code. 6.55 billion hours is spent trying to comply with this tax code. It started in 1913, and at that time the tax code had a little over 9,000 words in that code. It was about 27 pages long. Today, That tax code has over 4 million words. There was 173 million call attempts to the IRS in 2022. Approximately only 13% of those reached a live person. In 1935, the 1040 was only 1 page long. Today, the 1040 is only 2. So we haven't grown that much more. But here's the interesting thing. You know that instruction book that comes along with it? In 1935, that instruction book was 2 pages long. Today, that instruction book is 257 pages long. So again, I ask the question, are you battling this tax code solo? And are you prepared to read that 257 pages? Are you going to go through that 4 million word tax code itself? If you are, good for you. If not, this is where it's really vitally important that you have a tax plan, not just a tax return, a tax plan to help you guide you through that. There was a judge many, many years ago called Learned Hand, and he said, in America, there's 2 tax systems. One for the informed and one for the uninformed. Both systems are legal. So, do you want to be living by the uninformed group and potentially paying more in taxes and not setting yourself up for a success in the future? Or be in the informed group and work with a team that is working to combine your tax planning with your investment planning, your income planning, your health insurance planning, legacy planning, and all the likes. Again, tax planning is not a specific day and time, like April 15th when you file that tax return. It happens all year and beyond even that, a lifetime when we look at all the various things. You've been saving for retirement for potentially 30, 40 years, and depending upon how you've saved, when that money starts coming out, it's going to be taxable in the various tax brackets that exist at that time. If tax brackets change, you have to go with the flow in that. If your life changes, you have to go with that. If your needs change. But what if tax planning was done in place to try to help you in that situation? Again, that's what we're offering, that's what we're asking here today. Are you battling the tax code solo? You don't have to. Here at Centennial Wealth Advisory, we want to help you plan to retire well. And one of the things we believe strongly in is that it's not just investments in that. There's more to it. And one of the biggest pieces of that we believe are taxes. We have our team here that are trained in that and ready to assist and walk alongside you and your financial advisor here to help you on this journey, and so that you can plan to retire well, not just from an investment standpoint, but all aspects, to make sure you're maximizing that tax situation so you can pay the least amount possible and have the most in your pocket, versus that silent partner, Uncle Sam, and having some in his pocket. Give us a call at the number on the screen so we can help walk you through your tax plan in the future.